All right, sitting here with Anton Gilmore, and he's busy typing a message right now, but he'll be done really, really soon. Anton, after you're done with that message, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Hayden. Just super busy. It's a Saturday morning here at Fight with Insight, so the guys have gone for the 3-hour journey of training. Luke's busy taking them on a historical run through Johannesburg and Hillbrow as he normally does. It's something that Luke's going to be doing on a regular basis, where people can sign up and go running with Luke on a tour of Johannesburg.
Yeah, talk to us about that. I mean, you mentioned historical sites. He's obviously a city guy. Let's hear a little bit more about Luke and his run, because I'm sure some people might want to join that run.
Sure. So Luke has been a very active person from an early age, and he worked at the in Hillbrow at the old record label there. I forget its name, something like something warehouse. And then he's been working in restaurants for many years since he was a young boy, probably since the age of 15 or 16. And he's just a very applied person. He landed up working at Teddy Bear Clinic after not enjoying the corporate life. I didn't enjoy that whole rat race thing, so he decided he was going to go and help people and become basically a philanthropist. And so he worked at Teddy Bear Clinic for many years, and he's the guy that carte blanche will phone and say, listen, we've got one of these sexual misconduct cases, how about you talking about it? And he's a neuroscientist and probably the top child care advocate in the country. And it was his idea to start this Fight with Insight project. And myself, Sherry and Luke make up the team. And Sherry's our researcher, and she puts together all the academic acclaim for this place. It is currently the 4th best project in the world. And we've also won quite a few other awards with regards to this. So we look after 250 children per month. We've got 70 amateurs and we've got about 6 pros, but I've got a span of pros waiting in the wings to turn pro, but this year we're just waiting for the licensing to sort itself out. Outside of that, we got a fully equipped kitchen here that was donated to us here at the Children's Memorial Institute, and we got a guy called Masa, and he's our head cook, and he's been coached how to become a chef and whatever, and he's a fantastic cook and also just a really good person. So outside of Fight with Insight just being a fighting organization, it's a lot deeper than that. I think that's just the top echelon of guys that actually make it through into the fighting, and they want to do the fighting, and which is most of them anyway. We've got some other things that come on board here. We've got we try to get our guys applied into the world that they want to go into. So if you've got a dual income stream, but being at boxing and let's say business management like Reggie Magashua does, and he's got 2 degrees already in that field, there's less issues if you get unemployed in one of those. So that means you've got a backup plan. So it's very needed if you're an adult and you want to grow through your youth into a healthy adult. This is what we're using as our philosophy.
What would you say is the success rates amongst the students that basically come to the program? But I mean, is it 100%, or are there kids that leave the program?
Look, we allow any child to come train here, irrespective of where you live, and they just fall into our program. The success rate is massive, and I wouldn't be able to give you the exact stats on the current group. They all flourish. There was the one story about this child that was making a lot of trouble in the Florence building, which is a hijacked building in Hillbrow, and there was a vendetta to kill him because he was such a nuisance, and he was here with Luke and myself for 2 weeks, and that whole vendetta was cancelled. And it sounds quite harsh, but he was a troubled kid, and funny enough, he's one of my pros now, and there's a long story about him, but he's a really good boy and he's applied. So the success rate is very high, and we don't see kids going backwards. We only see improvement. But if you've got 3 coaches on hand all the time, plus we have a sphere of underlings that are let's say the coaches. We've got a span of them. There's about 13 or 14 of them that mind the children in different segments of the project. So like Masa runs the food, and Joel will be the youth ambassador, and Jesdale, who you just met now, who's been sparring with Isaac and Rowan. He runs the youth ambassadors for South Africa, you know. So all these kids get pulled into the project and fanned out to things that they should be doing, you know, just growing them. But previously we used to look after child sex offenders that were children, and we looked after 130, and there's no repeat offences. It's a 98% success rate, but it sounds, that's good. But one child sex offender offends 364 people in a lifetime if he's unabated. So we've done really well.
I want to switch over to the next conversation right now, which is professional boxing. And I mean, obviously people have come through the fight inside, as you mentioned, they've turned professional, but you've got a few guys that have excelled, like Ricardo Malajika, and he's recently left. I know that's, you know, he made a decision. How do you feel about the fact that he's left, coupled with the Libote brothers also leaving at the same time?
Sure. Okay, so I've got Ricardo and the Libotes that left me. Christian Libote and Ricardo fought in December last year, and you know, you got to look after your brand. So Golden Gloves weren't impressed with their performance. I trained Ricardo to fight like he fought, because we were fighting quite an awkward customer. Unfortunately, he did the holding too much, but I think he did really well. I was very happy with his fight, and it's not a spectator fight, but you had to do what you got to do to win the fight. And I know this guy is awkward, and he just keeps on coming forward. I spoke to all my sort of spies in the network, and they all said, listen, my guy sparred with him, you got to watch out, this guy's just marauding and he comes forward. And I know that Ellen Tawil's a game plan type of guy, so we had a game plan as well, you know, and it was just to destabilize that guy, never give him room to actually get to do what he wants to do. I know he's a dangerous customer. He was on 21 or 22 fights, so he's far more experienced than us, and you know, I did respect the fact that he was with Ellen. He's a good coach, and I expected a hard fight. So look, sometimes you have a bad fight. I remember when Kevin Lorena fought the blonde guy from wherever, there was a lot of holding and things happen, you know.
Mickey Nelson.
Yeah, you got to do things that get you through the fight, and at the end of the day, when you look at the record, it's a win. And so that was that. It wasn't like Ricardo had always been fighting like that. He did have some ankle problems in the earlier fight where he fell down and things like that. That was resolved. Also, brand new boots on the day, and he has an ankle injury, so that's it. But the Libotes, they get sponsored every month by Brian Mitchell, organising sponsorships. I was training at Ray's gym. My gym's been closed since the March, so I haven't had a gym. So I've had to pick my guys up, take them to Smith's, Hillbrow, Raymond, wherever it is, and then take them back home. So it takes a large chunk of your day. And with all that sponsorship, never caught a taxi once to our training. And when we did have training in the Hillbrow gym and things like that, you know, there's excuses. So they like to pass the blame over to me. He was looking fantastic. He was sparring with Simon Gladler just before his fight on the same bill, and holding his own with somebody that was SA champ. So on the night, I think it was just his mindset, but also let's bear in mind, I wasn't licensed last year. There was just so many problems with the app, that BSA, and I was in negotiation with Cindy on a regular basis, and they extended it, and I still couldn't get on the app, and I sent them emails, and I've got all the data to back me up. I just couldn't get my license, and you know, everything's dated, so there's proof there. So it was a tough year for me. I mean, my gym was closed. I had nothing to do. I ended up cleaning streets. I lost myself a bit. I was picking up the guys for training back and forth, and you know, just having a normal 12 to 14 hour day, and then there's no schedule, was really awkward. Also being locked down, and you weren't allowed to travel at certain times. Just last year was heavy. I got engaged. I turned 50 last year. and I didn't have any losses. So Ricardo still won, and he won another title, and that's 8 fights, 3 titles. And I think I did well with him. The fact that he's been taken and put with Vusi, funny thing is, I am not upset about it. I enjoy Ricardo a lot and what have you. There's a lot of effort around looking after pros, such as picking them up. And I built a full gym at Ricardo's house, and I got some money from Brian to make that happen. With Ricardo and Golden Gloves, it's a business. They put on the best fights. They've got a crowd that sit there that want to see real classy boxing. You want the cream of the crop on the event. And so if that performance wasn't good enough and there was a previous incident that they didn't like and they deem that maybe Vusi can do a better job, I'm all for it, It's a business. They're looking after the interests. Brian is a shareholder in Ricardo, and so he's the management. I actually work for them, and basically I got fired, I'd say, I've got 7 other pros that I'm looking after. I've got Folia from Fight with Insight, and Rafiwe Maimu, and 1 or 2 others. And I'm just interested in growing this stable of pros that we've got here. So I was very lucky that Anthony Agrella from Bronx Gym, where Geert used to train, he said, come in and run the organization of boxing there and basically get the boxing going and train your pros there. So that's working very well. Every day we're training there 2:30 in the afternoon. And it's going nicely. I've got Jesdale coming along, looking fantastic. Just sparred with Rowan and Isaac. And Isaac's off to Russia today for a world title fight. And I am taking Jesdale for his last sparring session at 12 o'clock with him.
Okay.
So, very busy. It's up and down. I had 4 engine failures last year. So it cost me a fortune. I had no income from my own gym. And it's just been tough going, So I did a lot with the measly amount of money I had in my hand. And that's that.
Well, in terms of professional boxing as a trainer, because obviously you're a great fighter, but as a trainer, you've had some ill luck with boxers going to a certain stage and then deciding to, I'm going to remind you of Paul Kamanga. Obviously, he was another guy, but I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, up to 17-0, 18-0.
Yeah.
Does that still, to this day, do you think about those sort of things?
Yeah, those things, I'm an empathic person, so, if you get rejection, then you start to look inwardly at yourself. What am I doing wrong? What didn't they like? And with Paul leaving, that was actually arranged. He had 19-0. We went to Russia. He had the world title fight there. He lost on points. Came back, and then the guy from England, his name evades me at the moment, was very interested in pulling Paul over.
South African guy in England?
No, he's a Russian staying in England, yeah.
El Siesta.
Yeah, El Siesta. What a great guy. Awesome guy. So Paul was dying to go overseas and he wanted to make his name and what have you. I said, fine. We had like a handshake deal, which he denies, but I'm not going to go down that road. And he did pretty well. He won the international title there, and then he got hopelessly knocked out by Devin Haney. That's just sad. It's one of those things. And then he came back, and I don't know, his career stalled. He says he's fighting again. Anyway, it's not about Paul. And then Rafiwe got to a level. I just had some issues with his sponsorship. They wanted to be sitting in on contract signing and things like that, and we just had a bit of a run-in. And then he went to Alan Tawil and did very well there, and he's sort of back with me. I've got some fights in Poland for him, so we'll be going over in April or May. Mike McQuenna left after 6 fights, 6 wins. Went to Keith Russ, had 2 fights, 1 win, 1 loss, and then he came back to me, and then we just had a fantastic ride, beating Komanisi and Thompson Makwana, and then unfortunately dislocating his arm in the fight in Indonesia. So He's had, and now he's just injured, so he's waiting to repair. And he wants to finish off his last couple of years well and make some money, and I agree with that. Doesn't matter where you go, actually, you can make money anywhere. So last year and basically the year before, just arranging, you got your own life, and you're trying to patch in some boxing, so it's awkward with when you look after 16 pros or 14, as I was doing, because you'd be doing a session here in the morning, you drive to some other venue, train there, and then you got the session at night. So it gets a bit taxing. So now we got our 2:30 at Bronx Gym, and that's it, because it was really taking its strain on me, put it that way.
Well, where the boxers that are produced through the program end up with you, or they end up going somewhere else, I mean, you obviously still support them, right?
Yeah. So look, it costs us over those pros that we're talking about. It costs about 30,000 rand over 6 years to get them to a place, So that's just for the training alone and equipment. But then we're talking about the life skills and whatever, This project costs 1.8 million rand a year to run, and we don't get anything towards. We get close, but there's a 300,000 rand deficit some years, So what we do is we're trying to get these guys ready, and we build these fighters, and if they want to go off, and let's take Jesdal, if he wants to go train with Peter Smith, we'll do a deal with Peter Smith that at least we get a 5% kickback so that we can recover our thing, and then he's got to fight with our branding on his shorts forever, and that's what we expect from the boys.
Is that a new thing now?
Yeah, it's what we decided last year,
Okay.
because I run the pros here at Fight with Insight, and if the guy's going to go, and there's got to be a relationship, and there's a really good relationship with all our boys. Most of them want to stay, by the way. It's just too rich here for them to leave, because they get everything they need. I mean, throughout the Corona festival, these kids got a box of food every week that would feed a family of 4, the whole family. So there's a lot of stuff they get here, clothing, just the learning and whatever, So it is the 4th best for a reason. And by the end of this year, we want to be the best.
Well, give us some of the names that you guys got come through. You said obviously there's boxers turning pro, but they haven't had a chance to turn pro yet. I mean, what are some of the names that you got?
Okay, we call him Revenge. Okay, he's really hot. He's just turned 18, and he's been fighting. He gives all my pros a hard time. So you'll see him pitch up on the his name's Chele. You'll see him pitch up. We've got the other Malajikas, Ricardo's brother Louis and Miranda. I'm not sure where Miranda's going to go train, but Louis with us still. And Joel Libote's left. Oh, we got Locolo. He's very good, and he handles his weight. And there's 3 or 4 others that evade my mind. But the main guy is Jesdal Kayembe. I mean, he's really, really good. He hadn't sparred for about 4 to 6 months, and he jumped in with Rowan and Isaac, and he held his own in a really good way. So he knocked the SA champion out when he was amateur in 20 seconds. So he's special. And I'd really be watching him. Jeff Ellis has given me, whispered him, I want to sign this boy. So I'm busy talking to Jeff to sign him up. And Jesdal, funny enough, isn't into the big crowds and whatever. He's a very humble, quiet guy. And when he gets to training, he just wants to do training. He has no interest in the social life or anything like that. So he doesn't want to train with all the other Fight with the Inside kids, so to speak. He wants his own venue. And so being at the Bronx Gym, it's just the pros. He's happy to be there.
And how do you coach him? Like, do you coach him differently to anyone else, or you just...
Look, he's designed and he fights like Mike Tyson.
Okay.
So, it's a lot of the slips and into position, and he chops the body. There was a guy called Mike McCallum, and he was the body snatcher. And if you see how Jesdal does this, you'll understand. That's how he knocked out the SA champion. And most guys he's knocked out are with he chops the liver and it's game over.
Well, I want to finish lastly with, obviously, like, kids that are out there that still don't know about your program, most potentially, how would they get involved if they want to? Who do they contact? Do they contact you?
Yeah, myself, Sherry or Luke. You just go on Facebook and there is a Fight with Inside page. All our contact details are there. And basically you just arrive and you fall into the program and away you go. Everything's diarised and administrated properly so that it's legal. The kids now have just gone for a 3-hour training boot camp that we do every Saturday, which Luke will be doing the running tours of Johannesburg. So anybody's allowed to pitch up and go for a run with our crowd. We've got 250 kids we look after, 4th best project in the world. Got the Murray and Roberts award a year and a bit ago, which we won R500,000, which was fantastic. That goes towards paying bills. So if any kid wants to join, they're welcome to just arrive. It's that easy.
It's that easy. Thank you for speaking to us about all the things today, Anton. And we'll see you soon.
All right, man.